In the early 2000s, the Acura RSX was the hatchback replacement for the original Integra. Now, 20 years later, the name has been revived, but as a completely different vehicle. Before we get into what's new, what we know, and definitely what we don't know, do us a favor and hit those like and subscribe buttons below. Now, this particular RSX is just a prototype, but when the actual RSX goes on sale in the second half of 2026, it'll be the first model on Honda's new EV platform that has been developed in-house and will be assembled in Ohio. The all-electric ZDX and the Honda Prologue have both been designed in conjunction with GM. And there's not a lot of information on power, performance, or range, or price, so let's go over what's in front of us. Now, the front of this RSX prototype is probably the most distinctive of all of its styling cues. First off, we have this nose here, which has some cues that are tied into the RSX concept that we saw just recently, but thankfully it's been tamed down quite a bit. It doesn't look nearly as boat-like as the concept did. It's nicely rounded out and still has these really sharp creases that I really like. We have these really sharp and bright LED accent lights with the actual headlights below, which is what a lot of car makers are doing nowadays. Now, that has a few advantages. Number one, you're not going to be blinding people who are driving lower cars in front of you if you're in a bigger SUV, but it also kind of allows designers to have a little more fun with these accent lights. And then tucked right underneath here is an air intake for these curtains that kind of direct the air around the wheel for less turbulence. We also have this illuminated Acura logo here, and when it's not lit up, it still has kind of a chrome accent look to it, which is pretty nice. Now, if it's not obvious already, this is a brand new bright yellow metallic paint color for Acura, and I gotta say, it's stunning. And it sort of reminds me of a Ferrari. Now, up here, we kind of have other hints of a Ferrari here with these scooped out coves in the hood that give it some musculature. From the side view, this RSX prototype is just as sporty as the front. That's helped by these short overhangs here in front of the wheels, followed by these large 21-inch wheels that really fill up this space here. This black trim here also helps to kind of thin out and make it feel a little more athletic rather than having the body color go all the way down. Behind this door here will be the NACS Tesla-inspired charge port, which will be standard on almost every car going forward. Now, what we have on this prototype are some digital side view mirrors, which will not be coming to the US because, well, they're not approved for road use, but I actually think that's okay because I've used those before in other markets and I really don't like them. They're a lot like the digital rear view mirrors where you don't get any depth perception. Further back, we have these recessed door handles for better aerodynamics and this lovely curved but subtle rear haunch that flares out just a little bit for that extra sporty feel. I'm also a big fan of this black roof here that includes these black roof pillars. It gives it a nice sporty, almost fighter jet cockpit look. Now, when it comes to specs, we do know that this will have dual motors and all-wheel drive as standard. It's also going to have a sport-tuned suspension and Brembo brakes. Also part of that NACS charge port will be bi-directional charging, which means if you run out of power, you can actually use your car to power your house in a blackout, or come to the rescue of another EV driver who needs a boost. Now, around the rear, we have this tapering fastback hatch that blends really nicely into this ducktail spoiler. This spoiler here is a lot more prominent from the side view, but thankfully, it's not nearly as, let's say, extreme as something on a Aston Martin DBX. It's handled with a little more grace, but still retains a lot of that sportiness. Just below the spoiler, we have these blacked out taillight lenses with this red light bar that goes all the way from edge to edge. Just below that, we have the Acura name spelled out almost like a Range Rover instead of the typical Acura caliper badge. Down below, we have this distinctive red stripe down there, which reminds me a lot of my favorite motorcycle, the Yamaha R1. Unfortunately, with this prototype, we're not allowed to show you what's on the inside, but what we do know is they'll come with the Osmo OS operating system. This new system learns driver behavior, such as how they drive and what kind of music they like. It manages all the safety and driver assist, as well as all the infotainment systems, and maybe in the future, some automated driving systems as well. Now, it's also capable of over-the-air updates, so it should stay up to date for years to come. Overall, I think this is a very promising start for Acura's first in-house EV. It has the specs and style to be competitive against other sporty SUVs. But what do you think? How much power and range will it need for this RSX to draw you in? Let us know in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons below to get all of our latest content. And head over to CarGurus.com as we get closer to the on-sale date to see what the specs and range actually are.